Subcommittee on Aviation Safety, Operations, and Innovation. Thank you all for joining us today to hear testimony from stakeholders regarding innovative aviation technologies and new entrants to the national airspace system. New entrants include innovations in advanced air mobility, electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, and uncrewed aerial systems commonly known as drones. These technologies have a wide range of applications, from inspecting critical infrastructure to delivering medicine in remote areas to improving mobility in urban areas. Along with advancements in electric propulsion, these innovative approaches offer opportunities to transport passengers and cargo or to provide other aviation services while reducing carbon emissions. As we begin the process of reauthorizing the Federal Aviation Administration next year, Congress should incorporate provisions to advance these important developing technologies. And our hearing today is an opportunity to consider the challenges ahead and the approaches Congress can take to address those challenges. Advanced air mobility is an exciting technology that has the ability to completely reshape the future of aviation. Analysts estimate that the AAM market in the United States could reach $115 billion in the next 10 years, increase the public's access to aviation, and strengthen national security while contributing far less greenhouse gas emissions than current aviation technologies. Given these benefits, there's widespread global interest from countries in Europe, Asia, and elsewhere to lead on AAM technologies, and the United States needs to develop a plan to be the global leader of this technology. There are similarities between AAM and the bipartisan work Congress did in the recently enacted CHIPS and Science Act. Working with many of my colleagues from this committee, including Chair Cantwell, Ranking Member Wicker, and Senator Young, we helped support domestic manufacturing for semiconductors and drastically improved federal research and development for innovative science and technologies. As AAM continues to advance, Congress and the federal government must position the United States to be the global leader of this technology. We must have a regulatory framework that ensures the safety of passengers and people on the ground, while creating an inviting ecosystem for domestic AAM manufacturing and operations here in the United States. That's why I welcomed the opportunity to join my Commerce Committee colleague, Senator Moran, to introduce the Advanced Air Mobility Coordination and Leadership Act. Our legislation will develop an interagency working group to evaluate, plan, and coordinate efforts regarding the safety, infrastructure, and security of developing AAM in the United States. The Department of Transportation will lead this working group, but given the technical complexity of this industry and the many beneficial uses, we will incorporate expertise from across the federal government to advance this effort on a broader scale. Our legislation passed the Senate unanimously on September 21st and will soon head to the President's desk. I look forward to our legislation becoming law so DOT and many other agencies can begin their work without delay. The Moran-Sinema AAM Leadership Bill is just the first step. In order to ensure safety, the FAA needs to provide clarity and certainty to the entrepreneurs and innovators who are developing this new technology. Earlier this year, the FAA changed the path for certification of these AAM aircraft, which created confusion among stakeholders. Looking ahead, in order to provide certainty, the FAA needs to promulgate timely regulations to ensure that commercial operations occur safely, that pilots are trained appropriately, and that the aviation workforce will be ready to fill the AAM jobs of the future. The United States will also need additional infrastructure in order to safely and effectively integrate AAM into our national airspace. I was proud to lead negotiations on the bipartisan infrastructure law, known as the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which invested $25 billion in aviation infrastructure over 5 years. These investments will fund improvements at every airport across the country, while rebuilding and modernizing air traffic control infrastructure. As I visit airports across Arizona, I'm starting to see the benefits of these historic investments. This week, the FAA released vertiport design standards to safely integrate AAM into airports. Today, our panelists will provide their thoughts about the infrastructure, including electric charging infrastructure needed for a robust AAM build-out. Today's hearing will also focus on drones and developing the drone economy of the future. Like AAM, this is another area where we need to maintain American leadership and build upon previous successes. Interest in drones from both the commercial and recreational perspective remains strong. As of January 2022, over 860,000 drones have been registered with the FAA, along with over 260,000 drone pilots. Drones are providing crucial services to Arizona and throughout the nation. They can deliver essential cargo, such as medicine, to rural areas and tribal communities. Drones also have the ability to monitor and inspect vital infrastructure, including pipelines, electric transmission lines, and railroads for routine maintenance and after natural disasters when conditions may not be safe for human inspectors. This is a promising track record, but again, there's more work to do if the United States is to remain ahead of foreign competitors. For example, Congress can work with aviation stakeholders and the FAA to expedite regulations for safe drone operations beyond visual line of sight, which may be still years off. Additionally, we'll hear today from leaders in electric propulsion, which presents an opportunity to reduce noise levels of aircraft while simultaneously minimizing carbon emissions from aircraft engines. Our committee will benefit from learning more about electric aircraft and any barriers developers face that hinder the growth of this technology. We have an excellent panel today with witnesses representing industry and thought leaders across the AAM, drone, and electric propulsion industries. Our witnesses will advise us on Congress's role in boosting these sectors, creating jobs, and securing American leadership in the aviation advances of the 21st century. Thank you all for joining us today. And now I'd like to turn it over to Ranking Member Cruz for his opening statement.